Most diesel drivers believe their engine is nearly indestructible. And to be fair, diesel engines are famous for strength, torque, and longevity. When properly maintained, many diesel engines in the United States easily run 300,000 to 500,000 miles or more. But here's the surprising truth. Many diesel engines don't fail because of poor manufacturing or bad parts. They fail because of small everyday driving habits that slowly damage the engine from the inside. And the worst part? Most drivers have no idea they're doing it. A habit that seems harmless today could quietly reduce the lifespan of your diesel engine by hundreds of thousands of miles. What should have lasted decades can wear out far sooner than expected. So in this video, we're revealing 5 driving habits secretly destroying diesel engines, and there's a good chance you might be doing at least one of them right now. And pay close attention to habit number 3, because it's one of the most common mistakes diesel owners make, and it can cause serious long-term engine damage. Let's start with the first one. The first habit that quietly damages diesel engines is frequent short trips. Diesel engines are designed to operate at high temperatures. They perform best when they have enough time to reach full operating temperature and stay there for a while. But many drivers use their diesel trucks for short errands. Maybe it's a quick drive to work, a short run to the grocery store, or dropping the kids off at school. The problem is that during short trips, the engine often never gets fully warmed up. And when that happens, several issues begin to develop. One of the biggest problems is carbon buildup inside the engine's emission systems. Diesel engines use systems like the EGR to recirculate exhaust gases and reduce emissions. But when the engine doesn't get hot enough, carbon and soot begin to collect inside these components. Over time, that buildup can restrict airflow, reduce efficiency, and eventually cause expensive repairs. Short trips also prevent the diesel particulate filter, often called the DPF, from doing its job properly. The DPF needs high temperatures to burn off trapped soot during a process known as regeneration. If regeneration doesn't happen regularly, soot accumulates and the filter begins to clog. And that's when warning lights, power loss, and costly repairs start showing up. Now let's talk about the second habit that quietly damages diesel engines, and this one surprises a lot of drivers. Letting your diesel engine idle for long periods of time. Many diesel owners believe idling is completely harmless. In fact, some people think it's actually good for the engine. After all, large trucks often idle for long hours, so it must be safe, right? Not exactly. While diesel engines can handle idling better than gasoline engines, excessive idling can still cause serious long-term problems. When a diesel engine is idling, it's running at very low RPM. At these low speeds, the fuel inside the cylinders doesn't burn as efficiently as it should. That incomplete combustion produces extra soot and carbon deposits inside the engine. Over time, this buildup begins to affect key components like the pistons, injectors, and valves. And once those parts start collecting carbon, engine performance can slowly decline. Fuel efficiency drops, acceleration feels weaker, and the engine may begin running rough. But the issues don't stop there. Excessive idling also causes soot to accumulate much faster in the diesel particulate filter, or DPF. When the DPF fills up too quickly, the system has to perform regeneration cycles more often. Frequent regenerations increase heat and stress on the exhaust system, and if the filter eventually becomes clogged, replacing it can cost thousands of dollars. However, the most serious problem caused by long idling is something called fuel dilution. During extended idling, especially when the engine is cold, small amounts of diesel fuel can slip past the piston rings and enter the engine oil. When fuel mixes with the oil, it thins the oil out, reducing its ability to properly lubricate engine components. And when lubrication is reduced, internal engine wear increases. Over time, that can lead to premature damage to bearings, cylinder walls, and other critical parts. So what's the smarter approach? If you're stopped for more than a few minutes, it's usually better to shut the engine off instead of letting it idle unnecessarily. Not only will this help protect your engine, it also saves fuel. Now here's the thing. The next habit we're about to discuss is one that millions of diesel drivers follow every single year, often because it's recommended by service intervals. Now let's talk about habit number 3, and this one catches a lot of diesel owners off guard. It's waiting too long between oil changes. Many drivers assume that because diesel engines are built tough and modern synthetic oils are more advanced than ever, they can safely go 10,000 to 15,000 miles between oil changes. In fact, some service manuals and dealerships even suggest intervals like that. But here's the reality most people don't realize. Diesel engines place far more stress on engine oil than gasoline engines do. Your oil isn't just lubricating moving parts, it's also dealing with soot particles, fuel dilution, and chemical byproducts created by modern emission systems like the EGR and DPF. Over time, those contaminants slowly build up inside the oil. And even if the oil still looks clean on the dipstick, it may already be losing its ability to properly protect the engine. As soot levels increase, the oil becomes thicker and more abrasive. This can accelerate wear on critical components like camshafts, bearings, and cylinder walls. At the same time, fuel dilution from idling or short trips can thin the oil out, reducing its protective film. So the oil ends up fighting two problems at once: contamination and breakdown. That combination slowly increases internal engine wear, and the damage happens gradually enough that most drivers never notice until problems start appearing later. So what's a safer oil change interval for diesel engines? Many experienced diesel mechanics recommend changing the oil every 5,000 to 7,000 miles, especially if your truck is used for towing, short trips, heavy loads, or driving in dusty conditions. This shorter interval helps remove contaminants before they have time to build up and cause long-term damage. It also keeps the engine cleaner and ensures the oil is always providing strong lubrication. Now here's something many diesel drivers don't think about. Even if you maintain your oil perfectly, how you drive during the first few minutes after starting your engine can still cause serious damage. And the next habit is something people do almost every morning without thinking about it. Now let's move to habit number 4, and this is something many drivers do without even thinking about it. Hard acceleration when the engine is still cold. Picture a typical morning. Your diesel truck has been sitting overnight. The engine is completely cold, the oil is thick, and most of the internal components haven't fully warmed up yet. You start the engine, back out of the driveway, and within a few minutes you're already pressing hard on the accelerator to merge into traffic or get up to highway speed. It might seem normal, but this habit can quietly create long-term damage. When a diesel engine is cold, the engine oil hasn't fully circulated through all the critical components yet. Oil also flows slower when it's cold, which means parts like the pistons, cylinder walls, and turbocharger may not be receiving full lubrication. If you suddenly demand heavy power from the engine during this stage, those components are forced to handle high pressure and high temperatures without proper protection. Over time, that extra stress can lead to increased wear inside the engine. But one component that takes the biggest hit during cold acceleration is the turbocharger. Turbochargers spin at extremely high speeds, often over 100,000 RPM. When the oil is still thick and slow to circulate, the turbo's bearings may not receive enough lubrication. Repeatedly accelerating hard before the engine warms up can shorten the life of the turbo and eventually lead to costly repairs. The solution is simple. After starting your diesel engine, drive gently for the first few minutes. Light throttle and moderate speeds allow the oil to warm up, thin out, and properly lubricate all the engine components. That small habit alone can significantly extend the life of your engine and turbo. Now there's one more driving habit many diesel owners overlook, and it often happens right after a long highway drive or heavy towing session. When your turbo is extremely hot and you shut the engine off immediately, something dangerous can happen inside the turbo. The oil inside can overheat and form hard carbon deposits, a process known as oil coking. Over time, those deposits can clog oil passages and damage the turbo's bearings. To prevent this, simply let your engine idle for 30 to 60 seconds after hard driving. This allows oil to continue circulating and helps the turbo cool down gradually. These small habits might seem minor, but avoiding them can make the difference between a diesel engine that fails early and one that runs strong for hundreds of thousands of miles.